left undone. Gotta be one of the weirdest ingredients I ever heard. But at least as long as it represents what it's supposed to represent, this thing should work. Let's see. Whoop. Wrong page. Gotta remember to mark this thing one of these days. Okay. Let's see. A hint of innocent wonder. Okay, good. Big helping of imagination and laughter. There we go. Liquid dragon scales. Do not ask how I got that. There we go. And thank goodness it's barely enough in here to coat the sides. But unicorn horn dust with the fur of a wild beast for the forest. Never going through that headache again. There we go. What was the last? Oh yes, one last thing. The smallest touch of faith and luck. Let's hope this works. Well, nothing too bad happened. But hopefully that means it works. Now, bit of a stir. Okay, and here we go. Oof, nice and foamy. There we go. And, well, bottoms up, I guess. Huh. Surprisingly, it tastes kind of cranberry-ish and chocolate? Well, one ingredient's worse. Try out sweet tooth. And what better way to represent a sweet tooth than candy? Still. I don't feel any different. Guess I might have goofed up on the recipe, or the ingredients of the potion. Oh well. At least worst comes to worst, got myself some kind of refresher drink. Not sure how the whole dad even made this stuff, but oh well. Nah. YouTubers, and welcome to another Halloween-themed episode of Reviewing the Web with your hostess, Ashley Weensong, and I've really got to get back to actually doing the show itself. Also, if you hear whistling in the background, that would be my little brother whistling his heart out. And no, I am not going to be saying anything beyond that. Private life is private life. You all should understand that. Anyway, as you probably saw in the beginning of this thing, the potion didn't exactly work out. At least as far as I know. No, my dumb luck, something weird happened. Anyway, it was supposed to be a potion to reveal my inner beast, or one of them. Yeah, turns out the Ashley mazes centuries ago had a philosophy that people had similarities to more than one creature. Thus the term soul beast. But obviously that was a bust, and back to the drawing board in my case. Anyway, at least before anything else happens, let's just get right into the top 20 Halloween specials.
Number 20. Polybius, episode 150 of Angry Video Game Nerd by Cinemassacre. I'll admit, while not the type of horror-themed video, if any horror-themed video at this point, I'm used to watching, this one kind of reminds me of the Blair Witch Project. At least if done with an arcade in a warehouse instead of a witch in the forest. Anyway, in this episode of The Angry Video Game Nerd, created by James Rolfe of Cinemassacre, said character, who usually goes by Nerd, ironically enough, goes to a warehouse full of all kinds of arcade games to find an exclusive one by the name of Polybius, that was said to have caused people to go mad after playing it non-stop. Granted, I'll admit that this starts off pretty slow.
Well, then again, what Halloween special of this, method actually starts off quick and fast-paced.
However, as the video progresses, we see Nerd not only unable to stop playing said game, but appears to lose his memory at random times. And by the end, the film leaves you jumping in fright, even though we're left with the question of what became of him. Like I said, it's a slow burn, but worth it just for the sake of the ending. Number 19. Mr. Bucket, episode 8 of Bored James by Cinemassacre. Long story short, Bored James, also created by James Rolfe of Cinemassacre, reviews a toy/game from the 1990s simply known as Mr. Bucket. But what makes this episode somewhat different from the others from this season, besides being a Halloween/season finale video at least, is that said Mr. Bucket actually comes to life and practically hunts down Bored James in order to, well, let's just say this is one of the reasons I left a warning in the beginning of this review.
Balls, 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 balls. Screw them, balls, 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 balls.
Get off of me! Well, that's one way to horrify a person's childhood.
While not the scariest I've seen, it did leave me at the edge of my seat a couple times. So while not the best, definitely worth the watch. Especially when you consider the part they actually put into this one. Limited digital animation included. And I mean limited. Number 18. Oogie Boogie Song from The Nightmare Before Christmas by Voice Play a cappella cover. That's right, viewers. Once again, these guys made it to the top 20 list. This time with their version of the Oogie Boogie Man song. And I must say, it is very impressively done. Both in song and video, no less. And everyone is dressed as the familiar characters from the movie The Nightmare Before Christmas, consisting of the Boogeyman, obviously, Locke, Jock, Barrow, and strangely enough, Zero, the ghost dog, with Pasquale Palazzolo, don't know who that is, but he's pretty Italian, I'll admit, and I apologize for butchering the name, playing the part of Santa Claus. The setting itself is pretty simple, with Santa tied to a chair, the group surrounding him, the background covered with nothing but a black wall, and several giant spikes coming out of the floor, the lighting changing once in a while, and yet that doesn't seem to dampen the quality and fun of the song and video. So either way, definitely worth it to listen and or watch. Number 17. Travis Williams' Spectacular by Critical Role. Who loves a good haunted house during this time of the year? Well, not Travis! Funny story with this video, actually. This was one of the rewards for a Kickstarter campaign for Critical Role's animated series based on one of their D&D games. And boy howdy did they get far more than what they needed. And one of those rewards was one of the players, Travis Williams, to enter a haunted house even though he hates them. Probably doesn't help that his friends and fellow players are watching all this in a separate room. if not joining in to scare.
To be fair, we have all probably wanted to scare the pants off of our friends. Both the fun way and just to kind of be a jerk.
And, like any other haunted houses, there are dark rooms, eerie noises, and lots of jump scares. Of course, everyone has a good laugh at the whole thing in the end, even Travis. A short video, but still fun to watch, even if it's at the expense of one person. Number 16, Haunted, an Adventure Zone story by Dark Blue Box. Well, what can I say? Can't have a top 20 without at least one written Halloween story. And in this little tale, Taco and Angus go through a haunted house hosted by Taco's twin sister and some of their friends. Yes, I know, already dealt with the haunted house in this top 20, but bear with me with this one. And get scared for most of the time that they're there. Though when the two reach one of the last haunted rooms, the scare practically intensifies. But since this is Taco we're talking about, he goes around his mouth and taunts the scarer, immediately causing Angus to laugh at his antics. Surprisingly enough, the scarer ends up laughing at this as well, thus breaking character and lets the duo go. Though not without them walking into a prank. Later on, Taco and Angus go to a party with their friends where Taco runs into Kravitz who, surprise surprise, was the very scarer Taco taunted earlier. Of course they have a good laugh at it and later on decides to date. This was a very sweet yet funny story, especially for those who are not only fans of the Adventure Zone series, but a bit of a sap for romance in a scary setting. Even if said setting is a haunted house. Either way, a very cute yet funny story for those looking for something of a toned-down Halloween story and actually enjoy it. Number 15, Satellite City, Halloween by Fenna. Hope I got that name right. Anyway, everyone has their own way of celebrating the holidays, even Halloween. And in this video, Sam Fenna, the creator and animator of Satellite City and all of the creatures featured in the series and channel, explains how one can celebrate Halloween. Of course, you can't have a Fenna video without said creatures and a few quick bits and skits. Even wanted to do the bit of, disturbing, to say the least. Oh well, fits with the holiday at least. Anyway, these suggestions ranges pretty much from pumpkin carving, what to eat in place of sweets, what video games to play to set the mood, if you want to play the night away, to even what films to watch. Though I'll admit, one of the films he mentions, The Life and Death of a Pumpkin, sounds pretty strange when I first heard of it. Heck, I even thought to myself, how the heck is a film about a pumpkin scary?
You fuck off, you
Well, let's just say that I ended up eating my words when Fenna showed some of the film. Like so.
Do my best, you.
The pain was incredible.
You a cunt.
Now I sit, mangled, deformed, waiting for the sweet peace of death to arrive.
I may never look at a pumpkin the same way again.
Either way, if you're looking for a video with a few scary scenes, some suggestions for the holidays, or just to see some pretty scary yet interesting creatures set in reality, Fenna's the guy to go to, or at least his channel. Number 14, New Danganronpa V3 Manga Anthology, Haunted House Panic, fan-dubbed by Voicing Harmony. Yes, I know, this is another haunted house story, probably the third one at this point, but this is worth it, even if for just a good laugh, trust me. While the Danganronpa V3 manga itself was created by Chiki Chico, and I hope I pronounced that name right, if I didn't, I apologize, it was dubbed by a group called Voicing Harmony, and I must say, they're pretty talented in voicing these characters. As for the story itself, Suichi, Maki, and Kaito have to go through a haunted house, which technically is the art room, due to a note written by Anji asking them to come for a tea party. Well, that and she has hostages, at least according to said letter. Anyway, as the three traverse through the haunted house, they run into a couple situations that are supposed to be scary, but end up a bit goofy in those moments. Well, save for when Kato ends up saving Maki from a spiked pit. And in the end of the manga, they have their tea party and pretty much end the story on a happy note. Well, if you discount poor Kyo still being tied up. Never mind that this is basically a Danganronpa manga. It's still cute and good for a laugh, even for a Halloween video. Or just the manga if you're looking to read. Number 13, The Oogie Boogie Song, recreated with puppets, by Barnaby J. Dixon. Again, if I pronounced that right. If I didn't, I apologize. Again. Now, there's been plenty of covers and recreations of songs and scenes from our favorite movies, books, plays, and even TV shows. Some are done poorly, some decent, and some very impressively, even with what people have on hand and not computer animation alone. And in this music video, this was done beautifully. And considering that the only things used for this was a Santa toy, a train set, and believe it or not, a multi-finger puppet. Yeah, you heard me. And not only that, but Barnaby Dixon, the YouTuber voicing and singing the Oogie Boogie song from The Nightmare Before Christmas, made this puppet, as well as many others. And the style of this particular puppet is both creepy and impressive.
And even I can admit, that's one clever way of using puppetry in a classic Disney song.
From the style to the movement, even the little screen on its face where you see a human mouth talking, and the song, oh my god, the song! Even as a cover, Barnaby does an incredible job at this, bringing the perfect balance of fear and fun, especially towards the end. And whether or not you're a fan of puppetry, especially this kind of puppetry in question, the song alone is worth listening to. Number 12. Teddy Ruxpin Halloween Special by Nostalgia Critic. Yes, I'm aware of the Critic fiasco, or at least when it was going on. Don't know if it still is at this point. But since this video is pretty old, and as far as I know, the situation with the group has died down, at least for now, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt until further notice. Anyway, in this Halloween special, the Nostalgia Critic reviews a toy called Teddy Ruxpin, and a pretty bad one at that. Don't know why it would get a bad review since I remember having one, and I happened to love it as a kid. But that's neither here nor there. Anywho, when Critic goes to sleep that night, he ends up waking up and literally fights for his life due to the Teddy Ruxpin coming to life and demanding a redo of the review.
Gee, I wonder where we've seen that method of horror films before. What the heck? Whatever.
Of course, this leads to a somewhat epic fight between Critic and the Ruxpin toy. It even got to a point where it looked like Ruxpin was beaten only to come back with a knife to Critic's throat. And of course, this is what brings Critic to give the Teddy Ruxpin toy a good review. But still ends up ending it on a creepy yet unfinished note. A pretty basic setting for a Halloween video when you think about it. But even with the limited special effects and the few props they had on hand, it's actually pretty decent. Then again, I'm a bit of a sucker for stage magic, which is what this video mostly consists of. So, no matter which taste in filming techniques you might have, this video is still worth the watch. Number 11. Silent Ponyville Lost Memories, LP comic dubbed Dark/Sad by Dark Knight Princess. For even some folks who aren't a brony or Pegasister, some fanfics created in the MLP community, such as Cupcakes and Fallout Equestria, are very well known by name alone. And this comic, created by Aluka Malika, I hope I pronounced that right, and dubbed by Dark Knight Princess, at least several of these stories are actually somewhat combined to one and yet tells a much different story for what we might know. It starts with Pinkie Pie enjoying a nice and sunny day when the weather suddenly turns sour. Yet before she can find shelter from said storm, Pinkie sees Rainbow Dash heading to Sugar Cube Corner. Of course, Pinkie follows her, yet when she reaches inside, it suddenly becomes a world of nightmares, with her friends blaming Pinkie for what happened to them. At one point, Pinkie meets a young but tough Pegasus by the name of Ruby Crow, who does her best to help Pinkie Pie. Towards the end, though, Pinkie ends up facing what is essentially her inner demon. Her darker half, if you will. This in itself, while other parts of the story is rather frightening, takes a more psychological approach to the story, which in a way makes sense when you think about it. After all, sometimes our greatest fear, demon, and trial can be in facing the worst part of ourselves, or in Pinkie Pie's case, within our mind. Admittedly, this ends on a rather sad note, hence why the comic dub is kind of labeled dark/sad. This is still at least worth the watch, if not just at least a listen. But the visuals alone are very well done, and it leaves a very eerie feeling as you're just looking at the backgrounds alone. Never mind the ponies in question. Worth the read, worth the watch, enough said. Number 10. Enemy Gang Scary Stories, Me Tai Dottie Walker by Lord Draco Arrakis. Well, it is Halloween after all, and what's Halloween without a good scary story to tell? Extremely dull, that's what. Sorry. Anywho, though the illustrations were done by Lord Draco Arrakis, a very talented artist by the way, Not only is it one of many short stories that could be found in a book called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, the story itself was actually written by Alvin Schwartz and was narrated by George X. Irvine. God, I hope I got these names pronounced correctly. And like many stories turned film, Lord Draco Arrakis illustrates this beautifully. As for what the story is about, it's about a young boy and his dog, played by Kiba Inuzuka and Akamaru from the Naruto series, spending a night in an abandoned house that's said to be haunted. It starts fine for them, but by the middle of the night, the boy hears someone singing, to which the dog actually replies by singing as well. And not as a dog, but as a human as well. And this continues back and forth until something terrifying happens. I'd say what it is, but I'm pretty sure I've given away too much as it is. Either way, even if it's just for the story alone, it's certainly creepy enough to give you the chills. Ugh, still gives me the chills now that I think about it. Number 9. Halloween is Coming. Full extended play by Mando Pony. And yes, that's what the EP stand for. Don't question it. Music can help to tell a story. Sometimes it can even help express your emotions. And just like in this case, it can set the mood for a special moment or holiday. And Mando Pony does this brilliantly for this Halloween-themed album. Even the first track written and sung by Mando Pony himself is amazing. Though sadly, the first track is the only song in the album, while the rest of the tracks are pretty much instrumentals, or to be more precise, orchestra. And for a Halloween album with only one actual song and the rest, well, orchestra, it is actually pretty enjoyable to listen to. Especially when you want to get into the mood. What the heck? What did I get? Fleas or something? Wait. We don't have pets in the house. Did? Nah! Not possible. Either way, the music is haunting yet very enjoyable, with a hint of making you feel as though the album belongs in a film or just good for dancing to. A perfect way to enjoy Halloween if you're looking for something fun yet haunting to listen to. Number 8. My Little Pony Halloween Comic Dub, Twilight Fright, Dark, by Scribbler Productions. Yep, that's right, another My Little Pony Halloween-themed comic dub, but a very good one at that. Written by Rated Pony Star and art by Seven Tozen, sorry if I mispronounced the names. Scribbler and her friends voice in this Halloween story of a prank gone wrong and things taking a turn for the worse, as Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash soon discover. Of course, towards the end, there's one or two surprises left, but I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys. It's a perfect combination of horror and comedy, and Scribbler and her friends do a beautiful job bringing this comic to life. And while it may be set in the My Little Pony verse, the story itself is perfect for those looking for a good horror tale with a dash of comedy in it. Number 7. Next October by Venom Millen. For those who don't know, for the past few years during Halloween, Venom Millen faces off against the Lemon Queen, Venna Lemon, for control of her YouTube channel. And after every Halloween battle, she puts up a song to mark the end of the fight. And in this little number, Venna Lemon basically warns Venom Millen that she'll be back next Halloween, and so she'd better watch out and prepare for the worst. Not only is the song pretty catchy and a bit jazzy, but believe it or not, at least 2 people have made this song into an animation, at least as far as I know. One by the name of Jinja Ninja Awu, if I pronounced that right, in the style of an animatic, and the other by the Inverted Shadow using Gmod for his visual rendition of the song. Both of which are very impressively done and worth the watch. Either way, whether for the song or the videos themselves, they're perfect for those looking for something short yet fun to listen to on Halloween night. Number 6. Into the Night, a Hocus Pocus original musical featuring deleted scenes by Patty Cake Productions. Ever since the film was produced in 1993, Hocus Pocus has slowly over the years become a Halloween classic that's grown in popularity and beloved by the fans to this day. And Patty Cake Productions, like in so many of their videos, put all of their love and dedication into creating this masterful music video featuring the Sanderson sisters. Featuring a new song and starring Kimberly Zuzzolo as Winifred, James Dillman as Mary, and Stephanie Trilly as Sarah, sorry if I mispronounced anyone's names. Again, it's more or less a musical retelling of the film, to a certain point at least, of how the Sanderson sisters come back to life and start to gather the children to steal their youth in order to remain young forever. And yes, this has technically been done by many other YouTubers and filmmakers many times. Yet what makes this music video different from the others, besides an original song, is that Patty Cake Productions had actually incorporated and performed a scene that was actually cut out of the original film. Not to mention that they did so twice, no less. Once for the music video, and the second as it was meant to be seen had this not been cut out from the original film. The acting is phenomenal, the song is catchy and fun, or basically to put it short, the people of Patty Cake Productions put their hearts into this and succeeded. Number 5. The Bear-Stained Bears, episode 142 of Angry Video Game Nerd by Cinemassacre. Yeah, I know, I seem to have put quite a few Cinemassacre's videos on this list, but trust me, there's a good reason for it. And this isn't even the last. Anyway, in this Halloween special, the Angry Video Game Nerd, or Nerd for short, is playing and reviewing a couple of games based on the Bear-Stained Bears book series. Yet during said review, he ends up diving into a conspiracy of alternate universes when his memory of how Bear-Stain is spelled differently from what he remembers. And by the end of this special, well, all I can see is, dear God, this had a heck of a twist ending and in more ways than one. Seriously, it even has something of a callback to Nerd's first Halloween special, and even plays into it big time. But for the sake of this special in question, I'm not going to give any spoilers for it. As for the quality and dedication put into this episode/special, I'd have to say that while the quality and special effects are pretty decent considering what they had and could do at the time of the making of this special, their dedication itself to it is practically 100%. Seriously, there's dedication and then there's dedication, and succeed in it too. Either way, this special is worth the watch. Especially for any unexpected plot twists. Ugh, still creeped out to this day by that one. Number 4. It Chapter 2 by Nostalgia Critic. Okay, I know. There have been... Hi, Ashley the Pony. Nice to see you guys. So, here's the thing. When I record these live scenes, I pretty much do a freestyle with the script coming from the top of my head. But then there are moments where I end up going on a passion rant, where I pretty much talk almost non-stop about a subject I feel strongly about. And in this case, well, let's just say that I couldn't shut up for about 4 to 5 minutes. So, yeah, long story short, I decided to cut this. Worst comes to worst, I'll just put it up as a separate video, kind of like a delete a scene thing. Though as to why I'm doing this instead of just cutting out completely, well, you'll see in a moment. Anyway, back to the top 20. But that's neither here nor there, so best to get on with... Why is... There. Anyway... Much like the first It film that was reviewed, this Nostalgia Critic special has something of a story within the story type of deal, involving the It clowns from the original and new It films, the Nostalgia Critic, obviously, and strangely enough, Joker from the new, at the time, Joker movie. That, and they also do a reenactment of the film as well, pretty much just like the last review. And yes, that also includes fourth wall breaking, exaggerated moments, and some very strong points. Of course, there's also a bit of a twist ending to this review, much like in the first. And I haven't even mentioned the live reaction version either. Either way, much like the review of the first film, the review of the sequel is well informed, presented nicely, and has just the right amount of humor to keep the viewers watching till the end. Number 3. Halloween song Ghostly Mansion, featuring B Slick, Swiblet, K Cray, and Squiggly Dig by Kyle Allen Music. Now, as far as animatic/original music video goes, even holiday-themed ones, this was awesome! The melody, the lyrics, the mood, the colors in the animatic, it all actually blends together to create a catchy and visually impressive music video that you can't help but want to dance and sing to. And it's great for the kids to enjoy too. And story-wise, A little girl dressed as a princess meets with several Halloween monsters consisting of a bone-tied ghost. Yes, you heard me. The tie itself is actually a bone, kind of like a bow tie. Go figure. A cheerful scarecrow, a rockin' werewolf, and 2 witches, sisters no less. One kind, the other sort of a bad girl with a heart of gold. And throughout this catchy song, the monsters help the girl see the fun of Halloween, and towards the end, she enjoys the holiday again, whereas before she seemed upset. One thing is for certain, whether you're young or old, this song and the video itself is perfect for those just looking for that touch of fun for their Halloween night, especially for the kids. Number 2, Paper and Ink, Chapter 2, Gospel of Dismay by The Inverted Shadow. Obviously by the title alone, this is in fact the 3rd installment of a video series by the ever-talented and dedicated Inverted Shadow. And yes, while his videos take a heck of a long time to finish and upload, they're actually worth the wait, given how much dedication and care he puts into these things. But I digress. As I've said, this is the 3rd installment to a video series that actually uses fan songs based on a popular game called Bendy and the Ink Machine. Surprise, surprise. And in this particular chapter, Papercut, an Earth Pony animator, is now trapped in the world of Shadow's creations, scared out of her mind. Though she soon finds herself talking to 2 of those creations by the name of Painset Shimmercake and Magic Bear, who after chatting with Papercut for a bit, suggests that she becomes their creator/writer since it appears that Shadow abandoned. This of course leads to a song by the name of Gospel of Dismay. Yet what makes this interesting that unlike in the prologue at Chapter 1, Chapter 2 actually has the characters singing the song in their own voices. That's right! The Inverted Shadow actually has his characters, or rather has voice actors and actresses, sing a cover of a Bendy and the Ink Machine song, unlike the last 2 chapters where the original songs were just mouthed by said characters. Other than that, this leads to Papercut accepting the position and thus leaving a bit of a to-be-continued moment. But that's okay. After all, though he can take quite a long while, Shadow is very dedicated to his works. Either way, the voice acting is perfect, the animation and movements are spot on, and the music holds the right amount of fright, yet fun times in this special video. Truly perfect for those who are looking for a good musical cliffhanger video.
And you gotta admit, but only Chapter 2 of the series, and it might take a long while for Chapter 3 to come out. This does leave one very excited for what's coming next. Why am I so... I guess the spell did work. Let's just get to the last one and call it a day. But first, from honorable mentions.
Number 7, What If We Fixed the Haunted Mansion movie by Nostalgia Critic? This is basically Nostalgia Critic retelling the story of how it could have been, especially when it comes to their actors. Which I unfortunately have to agree, not just in stories, but also in actor, basically the main. Because let's face it, Eddie Murphy, you may be funny, but your role probably would have been better off to Will Smith since he can be both serious and funny, especially when he needs to be, and not goof it up like when you tell your wife that you love her. Number 6, Remembrance Nightmare Night Special Animatic by Ashley H. Basically an animatic song from the YouTube/radio series of Remembrance by Ashley H, celebrating Nightmare Night, at least the pony's equivalent to Halloween. Number 5, LMP Nightmare Night Animated Music Video Remake HD version by Skyfall in 3D. This is basically an animated remake of the, at least what I can understand, the 3D animation that I even put on a list a few years back of Nightmare Night, and I gotta admit, though the animation is kind of cruddy, and though it's more of an animatic than an animation, it is still enjoyable to watch, especially since the ending leaves a very intriguing ending inside. Number 4, The Drowned Man. Chapter 1 through 3 by Markiplier. It's more or less like a on-site ghost story, but more of a goofy side than an actual horror story. Still enjoyable to watch, especially if you're looking for a few laughs here and there. Number 3, Halloween Promptober Ficklist 2019 by Ryder Mouse. Basically a series of Danganronpa fanfic stories that are short and sweet and Halloween themed. Number 2, Purge Princess animated music video by Ocarina Player. And I gotta admit, it's rather good to see him go back to animation again. Basically, this is a retelling of how Nightmare Moon, or in this case, Princess Luna, escaped the moon. since there was prophecy at the 4 stars aiding her escape. And in this particular version, we see her change to a rock and basically sing the song Purged by Hanya, a very talented singer, I might add, and basically singing for forgiveness for all the wrong she's done, as well as what I assume she's about to do. Very sweet, very sad, and very perfect for Halloween. And the number one honorable mentions D&D story Spooky Halloween one-off
You constantly are making reflex
by
saves.
Dingo Doodles.
Not much
Especially
time to
Dingo
react.
Doodles' retelling
Then
of a
Jawbone
campaign she
fails
and her
to
friends
save.
did one Halloween.
And then
it
Sneeze,
is,
who
I'll
jumped
admit,
through the
very
door
cute and
and
funny.
realized our
Definitely worth the
companions had been
laugh.
taken by
Very
the
Halloween
darkness.
themed and definitely
Let me
worth
go. I gotta
watching
go
because
back
of
out there
that.
and
Especially if
murder
you're a
some
fan of
shadows.
Sips, the cursed
Sips,
chaotic
it's too
magic
dangerous
wielding
out
monkey.
there.
I think the honorable mentions are actually more than the way they were last year. Well, let's just get to the last one.
And the number one Halloween special for this year is the entire 3rd season of Board James by Cinemassacre.
Yeah, I know. Not exactly the usual for at least this type of show, but I promise you there is a good reason why the number one is pretty much the entire 3rd season of this show. Turned out to be the last, but it does surprisingly enough leave interpretations for anybody who would like to watch this.
And yeah, I know there have been a lot of these specials by Cinemassacre. But like I said before, there's a very good reason why this is number one on the list. A long story short, at least for those who don't want to hear a long-winded explanation, this season of Board James takes on an interesting concept of what could be waiting for us in the afterlife when we die. Well, more or less. Granted, it's not even known until the end of said season, and even leads to interpretation. Anyway, it starts a little nutty with James trying to figure out what's going on, since at the end of the last season, his friends get killed by a talking phone game. Yeah, that's what I said, just go with it. At one point, he does somehow manage to bring his friends back from the dead, yet then said friends soon notice James acting rather strange. Well, stranger than usual. And in the final episode, it all comes to a head, or in this case, several games. Since it seems that every time someone dies, they... well, probably best not to spoil it. Anyway, much like their previous works, James and his friends put their hearts into this season, to where, once again, their resources and abilities with stage magic and limited computer editing is just incredible. And the ending alone, good lord! The final episode alone makes this the perfect thing for Halloween. And that's not including the behind the scenes video they did afterwards to explain the mythology of Board James. Either way, if you're looking for a series that leaves your heart pounding in the end, and want to see it done as the pioneers of filmmaking would have done in the present times, this is the series and season for you.
And that was this year's Top 20 Halloween special. And once again, I really gotta get to this show again. It's probably even worse than my spellcasting. After all, we all saw last year that nothing seemed to have worked. At least, I think. Come to think of it, I wonder if something did happen to all that magic.
Well, well, little Toon. I see you finally made it back home after your little tumble through the internet. Seems like now is as good a time as any to finally enact my plan. Soon I'll pay the review spirit a visit, and then I will finally have broken you. What the? What? Wait a minute. That energy signature, that was magic, and yet so pure. Too pure. This was dream magic. I wouldn't be caught dead wearing this stupid... If I ever find the mage responsible for this...
Nah, I'm sure it's fine. Anyway, that being said, and I hope you guys have a happy Halloween. This is Jocelyn Winsong, signing off with full fears this year. Oh well. and at least this year, the damage isn't too bad. At least I hope. Hope these things fade soon. Whatever. At least the magic fades in a while, and can't even imagine what else could be worse than wolf ears.
To discovery in 3, 2, 1. And that's what makes all of our spell scoops up so worth even watching.